Yeah, no, it's good. They have a very unique duo, in Missy and Queen in the front court. So tough matchups all over the floor in their front court. Hansen will have to learn how to guard different types of bigs, and he did that today. He had some success against them. I'm actually really proud of how he used his hands. He's quick hands, he's strong, moves better than people may think. So he'll be able to guard different types of players moving forward. So this was a good experience for him.
Three-point shot tonight was working for him as well.
Yeah, well, he's urged to shoot. He has really soft touch. When he's open, shoot the ball. And we tell all of our guys that. We want to shoot threes as much as possible when they're open. No hesitation. So it was good on him.
Hey Rip City, this is Danny Avdia, and you're listening to The Briefcase with Casey Holdahl.
Greetings, Blazer fans, and welcome to The Briefcase, presented by Spirit Mountain Casino. Episode 162 of The Briefcase, presented by Spirit Mountain Casino, the second or the third, I don't even remember which one, yet another Las Vegas Summer League edition of The Briefcase, presented by Spirit Mountain Casino. I am Casey Holdahl, and the Portland Trail Blazers improving to 2-1 at Summer League with a victory on Tuesday night versus the Pelicans, a come-from-behind victory in the third quarter to secure the win. We'll talk about the game versus the Pelicans, an interesting team-wide effort. It got a lot of production from a lot of different players, and really a nice little bounce-back game from the loss to the Memphis Grizzlies, where they kind of lost touch, and then I wouldn't say they gave up. They just didn't have the legs to keep it going. They did have the legs versus the Pelicans. It was nice to see that. I'll give you a Summer League standing update, even though the Trailblazers did win, and maybe as of right this very second of this recording, haven't been eliminated from the Summer League tournament. They're soon to be eliminated from the Summer League tournament. And the legend of Yong Hansen grows. An interview with Hansen on the bus today after practice. We talk about a range of topics on this edition of The Briefcase, presented by Spirit Mountain Casino. Well, after starting Summer League by splitting a back-to-back, a win versus the Warriors and a loss versus the Grizzlies the next day, Trailblazers had a couple days off, were able to regroup, get in some practice time, and bounced back with a 93-87 victory versus the Pelicans Tuesday night at Cox Pavilion on the campus of UNLV. First three quarters of Tuesday's game were really a lot like the game versus the Grizzlies, in which the Trailblazers led for most of the game. They didn't have a commanding lead, and it's not like they were dominating the game like they did versus the Warriors, but it seemed like they were kind of in control of that game. They were getting great production from their guards. Hansen was doing enough to make things difficult for the other team, both in terms of his playmaking and some of his scoring as well. But then the third quarter came around, and the Pelicans really kind of took it to the Trailblazers out of the halftime. The Pelicans shot 53% from the field and forced 7 turnovers, got to the free throw line, and generally sped up the Blazers, caused them to force a lot of loose balls. Blazers looked like they were slow to every loose ball. Looked a lot like they looked in the third quarter of the loss to the Grizzlies, second out of a back-to-back, where it looked like they were a bit fatigued, a bit drained, facing a Grizzlies team that had their legs about them. And it started to look that way versus the Pelicans on Tuesday night at Cox Pavilion. Derek Queen was having a really nice game. Jeremiah Fears was having a pretty good game as well. So the Blazers end up getting outscored. What was it? I think like 25-13. I think in the third quarter, 28-15, in the third quarter. Blazers go into the fourth quarter trailing 62-58. But rather than falling further behind, which is what they did versus the Grizzlies a few days before, the Blazers responded by rallying behind the play of Caleb Love, DJ Carton, and Hansen. What's more, the Trailblazers also were energized after a scuffle broke out that resulted in Sidy Cissoko, Jeremiah Fears, and AJ Hoagland all getting bounced from the game, all getting ejected, which not entirely sure why everyone got ejected. In one of the, I wouldn't say oddest, but so, they're looking through the tape. They're saying, I think Hoagland pushes Sidy Cissoko, which again, like, I don't really know what City really did. Jeremiah Fears the entire game was kind of being that guy who's being kind of feisty and kind of mixing things up, which I think is maybe kind of his MO a little bit, which is cool at Summer League, but that's going to get tamped down pretty fast once you get to the NBA, young man. So when the officials were kind of going through the tape and sussing out what they were going to do in terms of punishment, the official gets on the mic and just flubs his way through the whole thing. Like, I've never heard a referee on the review mic basically just lost his train of thought. It felt bad for the guy, actually. Like, it was very obvious that maybe he was a little nervous and they just didn't know exactly what they were going to do with the situation. So I think they just came in because they're like, let's just toss out anybody that was involved in it. So City gets tossed in that game. Jeremiah Fears, AJ Hoagland all get tossed, and the Blazers end up responding to that by coming out and really kind of lit a fire under them a little bit. I thought Hansen did a really nice job in the fourth quarter. I feel like, in the game versus the Grizzlies, definitely was fatigued in that fourth quarter. And he was fatigued in the fourth quarter versus the Pelicans, but he was able to continue to play. I believe he scored 7 points, went 3 of 3 from the field in the fourth quarter. DJ Carton and Caleb Love also did a phenomenal job. Raul Repair did a lot of the work in the first half, first 3 quarters, actually. I think he scored 19 of his 24 points in the first 3 quarters. And the Blazers were able to kind of bounce back from those ejections. So at the time of the ejections, the Trailblazers were actually down 1, but over the course of the next 2 minutes, they reclaimed the lead and went up by as many as 8. Pelicans did cut it to 5, and they started to foul. And, at Summer League especially, too, guys aren't necessarily used to hitting. They're not high-pressure free throws. Not a lot of these guys have played in college. But, it's a small gym. You can hear everything. You got people yelling brick and so on and so forth and razzing guys at the free throw line. So getting free throws late in a summer league game, can present some problems from time to time, but the Blazers did just enough to secure the victory. GJ Carton hit his free throws. Caleb Love did as well, and Andrew Carr all converted on free throws in order to secure the 6-point victory versus the Pelicans to move the Trailblazers to 2-1 at the Las Vegas Summer League. As I mentioned, Raul Repair led all scorers with 24 points on 9 of 12 shooting from the field, 4 of 6 shooting from 3, and 3 rebounds, 2 steals, and an assist in 28 minutes. Very nice offensive game for Rion. Bounced back from a not-so-great offensive game versus the Grizzlies. I believe he did have 8 turnovers, which, is not fantastic, but also it's summer league. Turnovers too at summer league are one of those things. You never want to turn the ball over, but you should be trying stuff out at summer league. You should be trying to do things maybe you wouldn't necessarily do during an NBA game to work on those things and maybe show that you can do those things once the lights are a little bit brighter. So I have no problem whatsoever with Rion having quite a few turnovers in that game. I was glad to see his shot go down, glad to see his drives looking good, glad to see the defense he played. So I would say all in all, it's been a pretty successful summer league for Rion. DJ Carton, 6-9 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, 5 of 8 from the free throw line for 20 points, while also getting 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals. DJ has had a really good summer league as well. I suspect he will probably end up on a 2-way somewhere in the NBA this season if he chooses to. I guess he could potentially go overseas as well. But a guy who has played some NBA ball, was in the Clippers system, was in their G League team or with their G League team. So I wouldn't be surprised if, bare minimum, I'm guessing the DJ is going to probably be a G League guy this year. I also would not be surprised at all if he got a 2-way from somebody. Caleb Love, one of the Trailblazers' 2-way players, got a double-double with 17 points and 12 rebounds, while also handing out 5 assists, and getting 3 steals in 32 minutes. Again, a really nice summer league for Caleb. Got a lot of love, no pun intended, on the broadcast the other night from ESPN, which is always great to see. Caleb, obviously on a 2-way contract, a guy who I'm guessing is probably gonna, as I mentioned on the last edition, probably spend quite a bit of time with the Trailblazers this year on that 2-way. He'll be with the Remix sometimes. I'm guessing maybe probably towards the end of the season, maybe when you start running out of your 2-way days. But otherwise, I would imagine that Caleb Love is going to spend quite a bit of time with the Trailblazers. Again, a guy who's a little bit older, played 5 seasons in the NCAAs, has a real strong basketball pedigree. So I would imagine that they'll want him around at least to practice, if not even to maybe get in game from time to time, should they need a little help at that guard position. And then you had Yong Hansen, 6-13 from the field, 3 of 6 from 3-point shot, really looking good. I noticed that after the first couple games, people talked about Hansen's 3-point shot like it's kind of like it exists, but not really. That has not been my experience so far with Hansen, between his workout with the Trailblazers, the practices leading into Summer League, practices at Summer League. I know Hansen to be a 3-point shooter. Now, that's not to say that he's like a fully formed 3-point shooter at this point, but that's not like a part of his game that he's adding. That is a part of his game. And so to see him shoot 50% from 3 on 6 attempts from 3 in that win versus the Pelicans, a very good sign. Obviously, you want your bigs to be in the paint a lot, but especially Hansen, a guy who, with his passing ability, operating out of the high post, operating out of the top of the key, you need to have if not a reliable 3-point shot, at least a conceivable 3-point shot that is going to keep defenses honest, because, they're just going to slink off of you and play those passing lanes if they don't feel like they have to respect your outside shot. you have to respect Hansen's outside shot, and we did see that versus the Pelicans. So that was great to see. Hansen also had 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks, and a steal in 26 minutes. He also helped hold Yves Missy to 1 of 11 shooting from the field. Derek Queen had a much better game, much better from the field, but I thought that, Hansen was on Missy a lot, and I thought he did a great job there. Also, as I posted on Twitter and Instagram, probably my favorite play of Summer League thus far for Hansen was Yves Missy gets a technical foul for complaining about something or rather. And Hansen was right behind him doing the clap, being like, yeah, yeah, which, I like a guy who talks a little trash or at least kind of understands the moment. And that's been, I think, really one of the fun things about Hansen. We're going to hear from Hansen here in a minute, just about kind of not only just his play and how fun of a style of play he shows, and just his skills as well, because again, for a lot of us who did not really have a whole lot of understanding or experience watching Hansen play, didn't really kind of know what to expect. So I think obviously the first thing that you're excited about is just the way that he plays, an exciting style of play, kind of a new age big man. You talk about, Jokic and Sabonis, kind of that style of big man, and that's obviously a long way to go before being in the same conversation with those guys. But just that style of center, I think that's a fun guy to watch. So I think people are pretty excited about that. But I think the other piece too is just having a young guy on the team who's kind of getting his first real taste of American and NBA culture. And so I think to see kind of that experience for a 20-year-old, a kid who just turned 20 years old, I think that's going to be a super fun part of it as well. It's been one of the best parts of the media interviews with Hansen is when he's talking about kind of his interaction with teammates, seeing him with his teammates. It's pretty sweet. Like they're all having a really good time, and there's no one that's kind of like, being too cool about it. Like everyone seems like they're enjoying each other's company. They're enjoying kind of teaching Hansen things. I think Hansen is enjoying kind of introducing them to a little Chinese culture as well. It's been really fun. It's had a nice little element to Summer League, and so to see him come out and do the clap after Missy got the technical foul and doing the no look celebration after his first 3-pointer, which I saw him before the game. The way it works is there's really not a whole lot of place to be at in the gyms in Summer League, and that's especially true at Cox Pavilion. So you have to do all your warm ups like downstairs, and so you're basically just in this like concrete bunker. And so I go down there and, Hansen's talking to some of his teammates and they're going through like some of the phrases that he's been working on. I think you probably saw some of them, he's got the, what the hell, he's also got a few more, profane is not the right word to say, but a few cursed words that he's learned, and also a few kind of celebrations as well. He was being explained what I bet means downstairs before the game as well. So it's just that's been a really fun part of having Hansen, and none of that stuff really matters if you come out and play like crap and you don't look like you're a guy who was worth the 16th overall pick. But that has not been the case, and so for him to play as well as he has really allows you to also have kind of fun with the rest of experience as well. It's just it doesn't play very well if you're not playing well or you look like kind of the moment's too big for you at Summer League. And then you're also kind of talking about, some of the things that your teammates are teaching you about American culture and NBA culture and how to conduct yourself. So I'm really glad for everyone that he's played well, because it kind of it takes the pressure off just in terms of that selection, both on Hansen and on the team. Not that the team really felt a whole lot of pressure about it. One of the things that the Blazers are really adamant about, and I think I talked about this on the last show, is that like we're going to do the things that we feel like we should do, and we're not going to necessarily worry what outside people are saying about it. Like if we go through our process and we feel strongly about the work that we've put in, we're just going to let the chips fall where they may. We're not going to let those decisions be affected by kind of what people on the outside are saying. And so while they always felt confident about that pick, I do think it takes some of the pressure off of Hansen, because if he comes out and doesn't play well, it's a lot of questions about like, well, did they do the right thing? Are you even ready to go to the NBA? I think after, 3 games here in Las Vegas and at least 2 more, I'm not entirely sure if Hansen's going to play in the last 2 games. I think there's probably a chance he plays in their 4th game. the fifth game, and I mean, this is nothing specific to Hansen. This is just knowing how things work at Summer League. Generally, once you don't have a whole lot to play for, you usually kind of give the non-contract guys an opportunity to get some minutes to show what they can do and maybe get in front of some NBA folks. They had that scrimmage versus one of the Japanese League All-Star teams, and that's kind of what that is for as well, as an opportunity for the guys who aren't playing as many minutes during the actual games to get in front of some NBA front offices, some agents, some international teams to see if maybe they might be able to get a contract or at least an invite. So that's what that scrimmage was about. It was a fun scrimmage too. And they didn't take any stats from it. Hansen and Caleb, I think only played like 4 minutes each because, they had a game the next day, obviously versus the Pelicans. But that was a little something that happened as well too, which, is kind of fun to also get out there and have an opportunity to let those other guys play. And it was also cool too because Hansen basically just sat for the entire time, and he was able to cheer on his teammates. And like seeing the way that he cheers too is like it's a little bit different than what you're accustomed to in the NBA. Like it's just culturally, there's just kind of some differences in how you conduct yourself on the sideline, I think. And part of that might be cultural, part of that might just be who Hansen is. But either way, really nice to see him come out and have some good performances to allow him, I think, to go into his training camp feeling good about himself and not having a bunch of questions about like, was this really the right decision? Hansen is also in the conversations I've had with him. He's pretty tough on himself at this point, like, and you would expect that out of a young player. You expect a lot of yourself. I know that, when you have so many eyes on you from your home country and so much media pay attention to you, I imagine there's a certain responsibility that you feel in that regard. And part of that responsibility is how you play and wanting to make sure that you're doing right by everyone and putting your best foot forward for all these people who are out supporting you or are interested in you. So he's a little harder on himself than I would like at this point in time. I was talking to him about something, and you'll hear it here in a minute. About his passing. He'd go straight to like, well, I have too many turnovers, and I think I led the CBA in turnovers last year, and I was like, but aggressive turnovers are good. Like that's the NBA, and I think that part of that is kind of just the differences in terms of what the expectations are from teams in the Chinese Basketball Association versus teams in the NBA, which, I think Hansen, he was on ESPN's NBA Today. Go ahead and check that out. I think that might be on our YouTube page as well. And kind of one of the things that he said was that, in the NBA, it's a much more open game and a lot more like just going out and kind of hooping. And that's especially true at Summer League. Whereas in the CBA, maybe a bit more coaches calling plays and being a little more regimented in those plays, less kind of playing off of reads, which would also make sense too, because like to be able to like read and react is a higher level of play than just kind of going through the play that is being called that you've practiced that maybe you have a couple counters to, but not the same as playing in flow, which is they talk about a lot in the NBA, and just kind of having an idea of how we're going to play, much less than like this is exactly what we're going to do, which I think you're probably getting in more in some of the other leagues, particularly the Chinese Basketball Association. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how that element of him kind of feeling like he needs to be a little cleaner in things while also figuring out that like, well, in the NBA, it is a different style of play, and you do have a little more, not even a little more, probably quite a bit more latitude to again go off the cuff and kind of like work with teammates and understand that chemistry between yourself and the guys you're with on the floor, knowing what they like to do, being able to kind of just like make eye contact and kind of have an instinctual understanding of what you want to do based off of kind of the geometry of the court at the time. So, I think that those are things that Hansen is gonna learn the more time he spends in the NBA and with the Blazers, is that you maybe have a bit more freedom in the NBA to kind of mix things up, particularly a guy like Hansen who has such an interesting skill set in terms of his ability to create for others. Like, yeah, that's going to be something that the Blazers are going to be like, hey, like we just want you to survey and read and react. Like we might have one or two like initial plays we want to run, and maybe like we have some suggestions about what some of the more efficient plays are going to be when you're operating in certain places. But if you see something, go ahead and make it happen. If you have an open shot, go ahead and take it. So I think those are differences between kind of what he's experienced playing in China than what he's going to experience in Portland at the NBA. And that's going to take a little getting used to, but I think his game is really kind of tailor made for that. So I think that's a really good thing. Let's do a quick update on the standings here at the Las Vegas Summer League, and it can be quick because basically at this point, the Trailblazers, while maybe not officially eliminated at this exact moment, they are very likely to be eliminated. It could potentially happen on Wednesday, almost guaranteed to happen on Thursday. The next time another undefeated team wins, that basically eliminates any one win team, such as the Trailblazers. The Kings and the Timberwolves both moved to 4-1, so they are guaranteed. They're not technically guaranteed to make the semifinal because if a bunch of other teams in 4-1, they could end up getting eliminated by point differential. But as of right now, they would absolutely get in before the Trailblazers. So that's at least two teams right there, the Kings and the Timberwolves, who are at 4-0, who are above the Trailblazers in the final standings. And then you have the 3-0 Spurs versus the 3-0 Hornets playing on Thursday. So one of those teams is going to end up undefeated. So that's three teams right there who end up undefeated. So if there's one more team that goes 4-0, any one loss team is then eliminated from winning the Summer League championship, including your Portland Trailblazers. There are still four 3-0 teams as of this recording. So again, if any one of those teams moves to 4-0, that is it. For example, too, I believe on Wednesday, the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are 3-0, face the 0-3 Pelicans, a team that lost to the Trailblazers on Tuesday, meaning that they're playing the second game of a back-to-back, and they're already winless, and it's their fourth game. So I wouldn't at all be surprised if maybe they rested kind of their main roster guys versus a Thunder team that, as again, is already 3-0, plays at every other summer league, so they've already got a lot of experience anyways. And I mean, they're such a young team that I'm guessing some of the guys that maybe even saw some minutes for the Thunder this year are playing in their summer league team. So if they win, that becomes at least four teams at that point that will be 4-0. And since only four teams qualify for the semifinals, that would eliminate the Trailblazers and every other 2-1 team, let alone if they get to 3-1 from playoff contention. So technically not eliminated as of right now, but basically eliminated. And actually, I mean, if someone smarter than me went through the entire schedule matrix, maybe they actually are already eliminated. I think that's a possibility. But either way, it's going to happen at some point in time. So the Trailblazers will not make the Summer League championship. They will play one more game. I'm guessing since their fourth game is on Thursday, that most likely their fifth game will be on Saturday. But again, that is still TBD. If not on Saturday, it'll definitely be by Sunday. So a game on Thursday, and then one more game some point in time this weekend, and then that will be the end of the Portland Trailblazers 2025 Summer League. I should mention they do face the Rockets Thursday. I believe the Rockets are 0-3 at this point as well. That's a 5 o'clock start time on KUNP, Blazer Vision, and NBA TV. So yeah, check that out on Thursday. Again, not sure exactly who will be playing in that game. Very possible that everyone does play, and then maybe they sit guys in that fifth game. Maybe they decide to ride it out. Who's to say? I mean, having another day off in between games, I think, improves the chances of them perhaps playing guys like Rayon and Caleb and Hansen. But you know, once you can't make the championship at Summer League, it's generally time to turn things over to the other guys. Hansen's already played 3 games. Rion and Caleb have also played 3 games. And again, that's pretty standard. I think at that point in time, you got a pretty good sense of what these guys can do at this point. You know, maybe what are the things they need to be working on going into the offseason. That's kind of what Summer League is about, as well as getting into the gym, testing out your game versus some NBA-ish caliber players, and then addressing some of the deficiencies you might have in your game before training camp or even at training camp. So Trailblazers will be wrapping up their Summer League no later than Sunday, but we do know for sure they will play on Thursday versus the Rockets, 5 p.m. start time, KUNP, Blazer Vision for that one. Well, I'm about to wrap up my run here in Las Vegas as well. I've had a pretty good run of games and a pretty good run at the tables, but if you're not in Las Vegas and you want to get in some action, check out Spirit Mountain Casino, Highway 18 in Grand Ronde. Table games, slots, food, hotel, Top Golf swing suite. You got the beach not too far away. It's a great spot, great venue, great concerts, great shows. Las Vegas style entertainment in Grand Ronde at Spirit Mountain Casino, Highway 18 in Grand Ronde. Elevate your game. And finally, very happy we were able to secure a one-on-one interview with Yong Hansen. Did it on the bus as we were leaving practice on Wednesday afternoon. Talked to him about a range of topics, his draft night, eating fried chicken when his name was called at the 2025 NBA draft, as he's walking through the crowd, the attention he's gotten at Summer League, both from fans and from the domestic and international media. It's been really fun getting to know some of the Chinese media. I was hoping that maybe we might be able to get a photo together. I've been exchanging my Red Note account with them as well. Wasn't able to get together with them. I thought they were going to practice today. It was actually a close practice, so I was wrong about that. But it's been really fun to meet kind of some of the folks who are covering Hansen from international media. I think Hansen's been having a good time with it too. We also talk about what he's learned from his teammates and his coaches, both on and off the court. Him being a quote unquote big dummy around his teammates, a guy who loves to joke and have fun and doesn't take himself too seriously, which is really going to pay dividends when you're a big man, especially too. And I think I've said that before. Big men oftentimes are kind of gregarious and a little different because you can't hide when you're 7'1". Like people see you can't ever kind of slink away as a 7'1" guy. So you got to the world treats you a little bit differently, and so you got to kind of react a little bit differently to it as well. And so a lot of times I feel like guys who are that size generally kind of have a certain way about them, and I would definitely include Hansen as one of those guys. His self-critiques, as I mentioned, about his passing and some of the other parts of his game as well. His relationship with interpreter Chris. Chris has done a great job. Obviously, you're going to hear Chris here as he interprets our conversation. Some of his favorites, so his favorite food, his favorite music, his favorite artist. Some of that stuff we had to look up on the fly. So when you're listening to this interview, part of it, there's some delays and some lag times. Literally, it's Hansen looking through his phone and trying to find the names in English at least, of some of the things that he enjoys, and what he's going to do next when Summer League is over, what his hopes are in between the end of Summer League and the start of training camp. So let's go ahead and hear from Yong Hansen on the bus Wednesday afternoon at Las Vegas Summer League. Here with Yong Hansen. First off, Yong, I just wanted to thank you so much for the time you've taken during Summer League. You've been very helpful for those of us covering you. So I just wanted to say initially, thank you so much for your time and how well you've done answering questions.
就首先就是感谢大家这么大老远从中国从波特兰世界各地来到这个夏季联赛来报道来采访，这对我很多支持和鼓励。然后就是大家也辛苦了，然后感谢大家一直以来这么努力工作，这大家马上下班了，大家一块快快乐乐的出去吃喝玩乐。
Firstly, I appreciate all the media come from everywhere, China, Portland, or all over the world. I really appreciate it from your help, from your support. I just feel so happy. And now it's almost like the job all well done soon. So I wish you guys can enjoy your vacation. Yeah,
absolutely. So how would you say your Summer League has gone so far? The experience both on the court and off the court.
就是你能看夏季联赛打了几场比赛了，说场下场外你学到的东西吧。
在这边接触了很多篮球先进的打法和团队上的一些防守，团队上的进攻。你先说。
And also for sure it's like a high level basketball awareness I get, and all team basketball offensively and defensively. That's impressive for me.
然后还有我们整个队伍一些快快乐乐的一起就是说一些搞笑的英语，然后怎么样，我们一起开玩笑，这是一个非常开心的事情。
And the English phrase from my teammates who told me there, yeah, it's really interesting for me. I try to work on that every day. Yeah.
Well, you're doing a great job with it.
做得很不错，在英语方面。
虽然说感觉有的是好像不是什么好话，但是意思好像也是挺到位的。
Maybe some words a little bit illegal, curse words, but I mean it worked. I mean I can say it worked. Yeah.
It's part of the NBA, so it's a good thing to know.
这是 NBA 一部分。你还有没有什么新知道的？
什么？
新学的了。
然后就是在这边有教练抓一些很多细节，然后就是在场上面跟我说一些我该做一些什么事情，然后该去怎么去跟对手对抗。
And also, coaches taught me a lot about basketball, how I make contact, how I initiate contact with opponent, like about also what I can do on the court. That's a lot of part for me too. Yeah.
Absolutely. Draft night, how did that go for you? Were you surprised at all? And how excited were you when you found out you were going to be going to Portland?
就是选秀夜的时候，你就是叫到你名字的时候，你觉得兴奋、激动吗？惊喜吗？然后你当时知道来波特兰的时候，你当时心里是什么想法、什么心情？
波特兰是我第一个试训球队，然后当初对这边也印象非常深刻，然后对这边的气候什么也都很喜欢，然后就是当初在选秀大会的时候叫到我的名字，啥？你先说。
Firstly, Portland is my first city for pre-draft workout. Nice city, nice weather, everything's so nice for me. And when that night, when they call my name,
就是那个时候叫我名字的时候非常诧异啊，然后就是那时候还那边准备看会手机玩会游戏，我还想着还早呢，所以说就是非常诧异。我说啊，到我了吗？那时候手上面还有炸鸡碎没有擦干净，所以说我那时候还在那担心会不会弄脏我的西服。
For sure, when Adam called my name, it's a big shock on me. I said, huh? I would chill there, like play my phone a little bit and just talk with everyone there. Okay, so it's a long process. I might just wait there. And suddenly they call my name, huh? I still have some like pieces of fried chicken on my finger. So I use tissue to clean. I just worry about that pieces maybe mess up with my suits. Yeah.
It's a very nice suit. You looked great.
当时是看得很不错的，当时是挺不错的，就赶紧上去了。
那弄上脏刺的话就不是很好了。
If the camera caught the piece of chicken on my suit, no, that's not good.
Absolutely. How would you say it's been getting to know your teammates and the coaching staff? Because it seems like everyone really enjoys spending time around you, and it seems like you have a very good way about you. You seem very accommodating, and people seem drawn to you.
就是感觉你跟大家是怎么相处的，球员们、教练们看起来大家都跟你相处得很愉快，然后在你周围都很靠，而且很多人都被你吸引过来。
不能说是吸引嘛，就是大家都是很融洽，我们的都很友善，然后在场上面我们一起去打球，然后在场下面一起去打打乐乐的，然后就是当然我这个屌性格也确实挺二般调子的，所以说应该都跟谁玩得到一块去。
I can get along with everyone, coaches, like players on the court. We just try to be calm, be friendly, and just compete against each other. Off the court, we just have fun all the time. I mean, I just kind of like I just have like kind of like a big dummy personality. I don't care. I mean, just have fun all the time. Yeah.
And I think that will help you going forward to have that kind of personality, because I think that in the NBA it can be hard sometimes. So being optimistic about things, I think, is very helpful.
就是 NBA 挺残酷的，挺难的。而像你这种2P 脸性格，其实也是挺容易在这里生存下去，也是有一个有利的方式吧，对吧？
我觉得就是在这是都有因素嘛，就是在场面需要有球技去支撑自己，然后再加上就是我们是一个团队，我们不可能就是一个人去打自己的球，一对一的去打球，所以说我们需要去保护好我们彼此的关系，去开开心心的去打好每场球，然后就是做好我们自己。
I mean, for sure, here is tough, and we're the team together. Like, we just try to get, for sure, a person, like individual skills is very important. Also, the team chemistry is very important too. I mean, we need to handle that situation and go together as a team. Yeah.
Your passing is something that people have been really impressed by.
Yep.
How much have you worked on your passing, and how much of it is almost instinctual to where you know where you're going to pass the ball before your teammate even gets there?
就是你的传球让人挺深刻的，你到底花多少功夫练你的传球，然后或者是就是你有些时候是不是都是本能性的反应，有时候队友都还没有出现那个位置上，你的球就已经过去了。
确实有的时候可能自己还是在选择上面有一些过急，就是有的时候可能下意识就觉得应该往哪传，然后造成了有一些不必要的失误。
First I want to say I do make some turnovers. Sometimes I imagine maybe my teammate will show to that spot, so I just throw the ball to that spot. But sometimes like it should be my problem. I should take care of my decision on the court.
然后我觉得在场上面就是 防守人就那么大点儿，就是防守你的人跟你体格的大小应该差不多，只要你能露出来一个头，就基本上就能找着一个合适的角度去把这个球传给他。所以说就是之前的时候我就一直在尝试这种事情。
In the matchup, usually my teammate will usually have same size like his opponent, the people he guard him. So once he can show up, he can lead a little bit, maybe like little, just give me some spacing. You show up, I think there's always an angle I can pass to you. So I keep trying, so I get some feeling about that. So now when I'm in that situation, so I try to throw the ball to my teammate. Yeah.
就是这件事情，越这件事情场均失误基本上就是全那种就是那个联赛里边最高的。
I think I'm number one in the turnover in CBA last year. I'm not sure, but for sure I lead that sometimes for sure. Yeah.
Those are called aggressive mistakes, which are good mistakes, not bad mistakes.
这个尝试算是一种比较好的错误吧，不能说就是激进型的错误，尝试嘛。
我觉得就是这个是双向的嘛，就是一个需要自己成长，另外一个就是相当于是交学费了，然后就对。
Risky pass. If I make it, it might be highlight pass. If I make turnover, so I learn from it. Yeah.
Absolutely. I want to ask you about Chris. You guys seem like you have a very good relationship. You've done a very good job, Chris, working with Hansen. How would you describe your relationship with Chris?
他说，看起来我们俩关系挺好。你来描述我俩之间啥关系吧？
建构关系。
Wow, that's beachy friendship. Yeah.
所以就是他在跟他老婆打电话的时候，我一般在旁边就是在那个鸡皮笑脸，Yo baby。
So usually we just in the free time when I call my girlfriend, he just try to like imitate my words, my tone. He doing that. I doing that too to him too. Yeah.
哦，好甜蜜哦，好哦。
Oh, so sweet. Oh, so sweet. Always like that. Yeah.
That's great. People are obviously very interested in you as a person, so I just want to ask a couple real fast questions about some of the things you like. So, what is your favorite food?
最喜欢吃什么
？Hot pot barbecue. Hot
pot barbecue. Awesome. Fantastic. Who is your favorite musical artist?
最喜欢哪个歌手？
我也可以说中文的吗
I can say Chinese singer.
Yeah, you can say Chinese.
Johnny J.
Okay. Well, what's your favorite song?
最喜欢什么歌？
最喜欢什么歌？
最喜欢的歌曲？
哇，这个有点难选。
I think about it. It's very hard to choose.
别怕变老。
I think China, no worries of getting cold. In Chinese, yeah, it's a Chinese song.
If you wanted to sing part of it, you could do that too. If you wanted.
你能唱两句吗？给大家介绍介绍。
我五音不全，有点。
I'm not that good in the singing.
Me.
把它 Chinese.
In Chinese, yeah. Oh, no worries about getting old, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Getting old.
Good. Okay. Awesome. Do you have a favorite movie?
最喜欢的电影是什么？
最喜欢的电影，最喜欢的电影是，我操，这么久没看电影了，我发现。
Oh, long time I didn't watch a whole movie. I just noticed that.
我好像记得我上次看的电影叫《头号玩家》。
Wow, I forget that how I describe that. That for sure is English movie. Just check this name, Hansen. Yeah. Just check the no internet. Yeah, that's. Hold on, let me find the free page. Yeah, this movie.
One game.
It's about game. It's a movie about game.
Oh, Ready Player One.
Ready Player One.
Okay, yeah.
Ready Player One. Yeah.
Finally, last question. what are your hopes going into the rest of the off season and going into training camp for next year? Because I think people having seen you at Summer League are now very excited about seeing you in Portland next year.
就是你现在赛季联赛马上要结束了，你对你接下来的休赛期，然后到时候赛前的训练营，然后包括新赛季有什么期待吗？因为大家好像现在看完你打夏季联赛，很期待你打这个新赛季的比赛。
就是然后训好练，然后打好自己球，然后尽量做的就是让球迷不要那么失望啊。
Do a good workout with the team for sure. Focus on my own game, and I don't want make my fans or team fans disappointed. That's it. Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that at all.
Yeah, ready player one.
Yeah,
yes.
that's it.
Ready player one.
That's awesome. Hansen, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Casey. Thank you.
So there you go, Hansen talking about a whole range of topics. Really enjoyed the interview. Really have enjoyed the time I've gotten to spend with Hansen at Summer League. Again, he's really added just a fun element to the team, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how it plays once we get to the regular season as well. I also too just want to really shout out, like, he's done such a good job. He's been so busy. Everyone wants a piece. Everyone wants time with him. And he has really conducted himself in a professional manner. He's kept a good spirit about him the entire time. You know, he could get grumpy. He could be like, hey, I don't want to do that. He could start turning stuff down. He could give you short, curt answers. Like, I feel like he's really done a nice job of kind of taking the attention that he's gotten and not letting it affect him too much, and not letting him kind of change the way that he's approaching both the game and his downtime, and just a whole other host of things as well. It's been really fun to get to know Hansen just a little bit, and you know, as the season goes, or as the off season goes on, I know he's going to be working on his English. I know he's going to be working on his game. I suspect once Hansen gets to training camp, that he might very well be able to converse in English with the media. Definitely already doing a lot of that on the court. I mean, like, again, like, if you've seen any of the clips of him kind of coming out of timeout and talking to his teammates, like, they're conversing about things, and it seems like, and the understanding there is definitely there. Like, I don't think things are getting lost in translation when it comes to the court, and the other side, the off court stuff, the kind of more film room stuff. I know that they're working with him on kind of like terminology and plays. They've made like these little videos where they'll show something and then it'll stop and it'll highlight one section and it'll be like, what is that called? And so it'll be like, that's the high post, that's a dribble handoff, that is a split screen, that is a drag screen. So, like, kind of some of the terminology that he's going to encounter in the NBA, they've already been doing a great job working with him on identifying some of those things and having some tutorials in place to where he can kind of work on that. So I imagine that once he gets to training camp, you know, his understanding of both the system and just the language will be greatly enhanced. Also really want to shout out his interpreter, Chris. Chris has done a great job, really kind of getting thrown into it. I don't think people really understand how difficult it is to have a post-game media session. The player is tired. You got a throng of media asking you questions in English and in Chinese. You're taking in the question. If it's in Chinese, you're stating it in English. If it's in English, you're stating it in Chinese. Hansen's answering, you're listening to Hansen's answers, then you're translating those answers back, both in English and in Mandarin. So just a very difficult situation to traverse. And I feel like Chris and Hansen have both done a great job with it. So a lot of credit to both those guys. And I know that Chris has been, you know, a little nervous from time to time. You know, Hansen has at least played under the big lights. I think for Chris, it's like, hey, I'm just the interpreter, and all of a sudden I'm doing ESPN interviews and post-game interviews that are being seen by millions of people in front of a throng of media. Like that, again, that is not an easy thing to do. And I feel like everyone has really conducted themselves well. So I just want to shout them out and really appreciate the time that they've taken to kind of help us understand Hansen a little bit better and just do our jobs. Because, you know, if it wasn't for Chris, you know, Hansen might be saying a lot of cool, interesting things, but people like myself would never know it because my knowledge of Mandarin is almost non-existent. Maybe that'll improve as well as the offseason goes on. Also, not sure entirely if Hansen is going to be playing at the FIBA Asia Cup. I'm sure that China would love for him to, but not entirely sure what that was. I did have a few questions about that. But some other international competitions coming up as well. Denny, at least, will be playing with Israel at the FIBA World Championships in Poland. That will start at the end of August. Running through the middle of September. So that'll be something to pay attention to in between Summer League and the start of training camp. But that's still a few months away. Everyone could probably take a little bit of a break, catch our breath a little bit before we get right back to it for the start of the 2025-26 season, which will be upon us sooner than you think. And that's going to do it for this edition of The Briefcase. Thank you so much for joining me as always. As I mentioned, I am leaving Las Vegas on Tuesday morning, so I'll be covering Thursday morning, so I'll be covering the last game from home. Thank you so much for watching and listening and saying hello. If you saw me in the gym here in Las Vegas, multiple fans have come up to me and said hello. Really appreciate it. Always appreciate folks reaching out. It's always a good time. That's one of the nice things about Summer League is you get a chance to see some people and get a chance to kind of say hello in a more intimate setting, and that's pretty fun. So thank you so much for joining me. Please like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts to The Briefcase and all the podcasts we have on the Trailblazers Podcast Network. We'll talk to you soon. At least one more episode wrapping up Summer League before we take maybe a little bit of a hiatus, but otherwise we'll be back soon, maybe even by the end of this week, to wrap up the 2025 Trailblazers Las Vegas Summer League. But until then, I'm Casey Holdahl. Thank you so much for joining me. Go Blazers.